President, please be seated. The court is now in session. This afternoon, the chamber will start to hear 2 TCW 865. Before proceeding to hear 2 TCW 865, the chamber wishes to issue an oral decision on Nuon Chea defense request to admit Phnom Penh Post article. The chamber is seized of an oral request by the Nuon Chea defense to admit an article published in the Phnom Penh Post on 6 February 2016 entitled Bicycle Team Catalogs Khmer Rouge Killings. Having heard the submission of the parties, none of whom objects to the request, the chamber admits the documents pursuant to Internal Rule 87.4. The co-prosecutors and the Nuon Chea defense also request the chamber to obtain a forensic report described in the same newspaper article. The chamber grants this request and will inform the parties in due course of the result of its efforts to obtain the report. The chamber defers a decision on the admissibility of the report until it is obtained. The full reasons for this decision will follow in due course. In the proceedings to hear 2 TCW 865, the chamber will adhere to the oral decision in relation to protective measures granted through 2 TCW 865 that ruling or decision was issued on 20th April 2016, in which the chamber decides and order that the face and voice of the witness be not published in public. Therefore, the chamber instructs the AV units to distort the voice and face of this witness. And also information in relation to contact details, family details, including name of spouse and children, as well as residential and work address, shall not be made public as well. And the chamber would like to inform the parties and the participants in this courtroom not to publicly disclose the information in relation to this witness to the public. Now the chamber have several questions to put to this witness. Mr. Witness, what is your name? Witness. Mr. President, Your Honors, everyone in and around the courtroom, uncle, aunts who are present today, my name is Toi Teng. President Greffier, please bring a piece of a document to the witness so that the witness can have an examination.
នេះយកឯកសារនេះ
President, here's the document, greffier.
បាទឯកសារដែលអង្គជំរះផ្ដល់
President, the document which is provided to the witness for the examination is document E3/7663 Eon in Khmer 00163775. English 00401838, said the President, up to 35. And French 00401840 to 41. Mr. Witness, I have several questions to put to you in relation to your background. First, please look at the date of birth, your place of birth, your current residence and address, your current occupation, your father's and mother's names, and please also read the part in relation to your wife's name and children that you have nowadays. So please read the highlighted phrases and sentences, and please tell the chamber whether the information relevant to the part that I instructed you to read is correct, and if some part is not correct, please let me know. Have you already reviewed the relevant parts of the sentences and Duty Counsel, please do not turn on and off the microphone by yourself. The microphone will be operated by the technician. Again, Mr. Witness, please read the relevant parts of the sentences that I instructed you to read. Are they correct? Witness, the information is correct, Mr. President, in relation to names of my parents, and also name of my wife. President, thank you. Mr. Witness, based on the report of the greffier, you are not related to the two accused, Nuon Chea and Khieu Sampon, and to any parties to today's proceeding. Is the report correct? Answer, yes, that is correct. I have no relation with them. President, and based on the report, you have already taken a note before your appearance in this courtroom. Is that report also correct? Answer, that is correct also, Mr. President. I have already taken note. President, I am now telling you of your rights and obligation as a witness before the chamber. As a witness in these proceedings, you may refuse to answer any question or comments that you were asked to do so, which may lead to self-incrimination. And as for your obligations, as a witness before the chamber, you have to respond to the question that were put to you by the bench or parties, except the question or comment which may incriminate you as a witness before the chamber, and I have already told you about your rights. You must tell the truth that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about an event or occurrence relevant to the questions that the bench or parties pose to you. Mr. Witness, have you ever provided interviews or have you ever been interviewed by the OCIJ of the ECCC so far? Answer. I was interviewed by those individuals. President, I think the issue here and the problem here, I cannot hear the witness very well and clearly. Court officers, please move the microphone a little bit closer to the witness.
បាទហើយទី2គុំសូម
Rather, duty counsel, please move the microphone a little bit closer to the witness. And I have a little bit confusion in relation to the operation of the microphone. Actually, the microphone cannot be operated by the technician from within the AV booth. So, operation of the microphone is solely based on the system and will be facilitated by the duty counsel for the witness. And duty counsel, please be reminded that you give a little bit pause or wait a little bit before you turn on the microphone for the witness to leave time for interpretation. Otherwise, there is no full interpretation for the source language. President, have you ever provided interview or have you ever interviewed by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judge of the ECCC so far? How many times did they take place? Answer. I gave interviews 2 times. President, thank you. Before you are here in front of the chamber, have you reviewed and read the written records of the interviews to refresh your memory? Answer. I have examined and read those written records of the interview already, Mr. President. President, thank you. And after your perusal and examination of those documents, could you recall whether or not the written records of the interview that you provided previously or you have just read and examined consistent with what you told the investigator? Answer. The written records of the interview or WOI that I have read and examined are correct and no fabrication in these documents. President, thank you. During the proceedings to hear this witness, the chamber has provided the duty counsel more material to assist this witness during the time that he is testifying. The chamber would like to remind parties that in case there are questions which may have incriminate the witness can have the chance to consult with the duty counsel in a confidential manner, not in public. However, Mr. Witness, the witness will have the right not to answer those questions, the question that may lead to self-incrimination of the witness. It does not mean that the chamber will prevent the witness from answering the questions which may possibly self-incriminate the witness. And Jury Counsel, please also be aware of this issue, not to cause any issue or impacts on the proceedings. And based on the internal Rule 91bis of the ECCC, the floor is first given to the co-prosecutors to put questions. Co-prosecutors, together with the lead co-lawyers for civil party, will have 2 sessions to put the question to this witness. You may proceed now. Co-prosecutor, first of all, good afternoon, rather, Mr. President, Your Honors, everyone in and around the courtroom. My name is Zain Liang, the National Deputy Co-Prosecutor. Today, I have several questions to put to you, Mr. Witness. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. My first set of questions to put to you is to ask for your clarification and confirmation on your background and experience before 17 April 1975. Where did you live and what did you do? Answer: before 17 April 1975. I worked in a Division 12. And I was assigned to work in the field in a location named Pre Chamrang. That Pre Chamrang was located at Kaba Knol. Co-prosecutor, my question has something to do with the period prior to 17 April 1975. What about the period after that time? Where were you and what did you do? Answer: prior to 1975, I was a part of Division 12. I have told you earlier. Question: what about after 17 April 1975? What did you do? Answer: following 17 April 1975, I worked the field within Division 12, under the management of Division 12, and the field was located along the irrigation system. Question: do you recall which specific units, whether be battalion or regiment, were you part of? I was simply a combatant or soldier within the division. I had no specific rank. Actually, I was within Unit 133. Question: in the document E376-63 in Khmer 00163776 in English 00401836 and French is 00401841. You stated that after 17 April 1975, you were working in the field at Old Bike Arm, and you were in battalion. You were in a battalion, Division 12. Is that correct? Answer: the information in the document is correct. I cannot recall well what happened in the past. My memory is not good, but I said that the information there is correct. Co-prosecutor, thank you, Mr. Vines. Do you know the name of your division, the name of the commander of your division? Answer: yes, I know his name. His name was Nat. And Pin also was also part of the leadership. Question: do you recall where exactly your division was posted, and which one in the upper level did your Division 12 report to? Answer: I do not know about that in relation to the reporting system whom Division 12 reported to. I was simply a combatant, and I do not know exactly the post or the headquarters of Division 12. Co-prosecutor, thank you, Mr. Vines. Now I am turning to a series of questions in relation to S21. Was there any time when you were assigned to work in S21? Answer: I cannot recall the month and the year when I was assigned to work in S21. Question: do you know who assigned you to work in S21? What was the reason? Answer: yes. Bong Pal was the one who assigned me to work in S21 through the head of 50 members unit, and he did not specify the specific location where I had to work in S21. Question: do you know whether there were other members within Division 12 that were sent to work in S21 as security guard as well? Answer: I do not recall it. I forget it. I do not know who else was assigned to work in S21. Co-prosecutor, thank you, Mr. Vines. Now I am asking you about some location, within S21, particularly about the geography. Can you tell the buildings within S21 and the fence structure of S21? Answer. I never went into all the buildings within S21 since I had no duties and tasks to go inside those buildings. I was simply stationed outside. Question. What about the fence surrounding S21? What was it like?
ខ្ញុំមើលឃើញ
Answer. It was barbed wire fence with corrugated iron surrounding that S21.
នៅពេលដែលលោក
Questioned upon your first arrival at S21, which section were you assigned to work, and who was your direct supervisor? Answer. After my arrival, I was under the direct supervision of Hum Hui. Questioned. And what were the duties for those who worked under Hum Hui? Answer. Hum Hui group was assigned to guard at the outside the perimeter and to grow vegetable. These were the duties that I knew when I arrived. Question. And did you know who was chief of S21? And if you know who the deputy was? Answer. I hear people speaking about that. The first person was Dutch and the second person was Ho. Question. You said that you were assigned to a guard. Can you tell us the locations where you were assigned to guard and how many people in your group or squad? Answer. We were assigned to guard outside the building. That is about 200 to 300 meters outside the building. Question. Did you stand guard outside the building within the perimeter of the compound or outside the perimeter of the compound? Answer. We stood guard outside the fence of the compound. Question. Maybe you don't get my question correctly. I knew that you stood guard outside the fence. However, did you stand guard outside but next to the fence of the compound, or did you guard other buildings that is outside the compound? Answer. We stood guard at the houses outside the compound. Question. You said that you stood guard at the houses outside the compound. Is that correct? Answer. Yes, that is correct. We stood guard outside. Question. Those houses outside the compound of the center, did they belong to the center? And why were you assigned to guard those houses? Answer. The place where I stood guard were the residential houses, and they were located along the main road, that is the main entry road to the compound. Question. I will return to this topic later. Let me return to the time that you arrived at the center and you were assigned to stand guard. Can you tell the chamber how many people were in your group and where was your sleeping quarter? Answer. There were 8 people in my group, and we resided in a house outside the compound near the Zurich Canal, and it was about 300 meters from the center. It was located along a small walkway next to the main road. Question. And where did your group have meal? Did your group go and have meal inside the S21 center? And did you only have meal among among the members of your group, or did you have meal with other members from other groups? Answer. We all had meals together. That is for those people who were assigned to guard outside the compound to the southern direction. Question. When you said that together, did you refer to members of your own group or other groups who were also under the assignment of S21? Answer. Mainly we ate among ourselves within the group, and we did not mix with other members from other groups. Question. Let me talk about your guarding duty. You said that there were 8 members in your group. Who was in charge of that group? Answer. As I said from the beginning, Hum Hui was the chief. Question. I'll read an excerpt to you. It is a written record of interview of Hum Hui, whom you said is your chief. This one was taken on the 18th of E3/5158. Khmer is 00164418. English is at 00164451, and French 00164455. The question that was asked to Hum Hui is the following. Did you know a Toi Teng at S21, and what was his position? And Hum Hui said, and allow me to quote, at S21, Teng was a group chief of guards at the special prison where important prisoners were detained in those houses. located outside the northern fence of the compound. At that time, he was under my supervision. Does that jog your memory, Mr. Witness? Answer. I reject this statement. His statement is incorrect. I did not have any specific position. I was simply a member of the group, and I did not have any other positions than that. However, I gave a position when I was assigned to guard at Trường 8, but not at S21. I reject this statement. Question. You said you reject the statement because you said you were not chief of the 8-member group, or which part of the statement you reject? Answer. I reject the statement that I was chief of the 8-member group, and that I guarded prisoners there. Question. And to your knowledge, outside the perimeter of 21, were there houses where prisoners were detained? Answer. I did not know or see that when I was working there. Question. Can you tell the chamber that is outside the perimeter of or compound of I-21, was there any interrogation building or house? Answer. I only heard that there was one within the center, but I did not know whether such a facility existed outside the compound, since I was not allowed to walk freely. Question. I'd like to read an excerpt to you, which is your statement E3/7663. EN in Khmer is at 0016 3777, and English is at 004018 37238. French is at 00401843. When you were asked whether you ever heard about the torturing of prisoners and how the prisoners were tortured, you said, I heard prisoners scream with pain when they were interrogated outside the compound when I went to water the plants there. Does the excerpt that I read out to you jog your memory? Answer. The statement that I made is correct. Question. Do you confirm that there was an interrogation facility located outside the compound of S21? Answer. I cannot recall that clearly. When I was walking past, I heard the scream, but I cannot recall the location. Question. And the location where you heard the scream, can you tell the chamber in which direction that you heard that scream, and what did you actually hear? Answer. It was toward the southern direction near the fence. Question. And what did you hear at the time? Answer. I heard the scream from people who were being tortured, although I did not know how they were tortured. Question. Did you ever see prisoners being walked for interrogation, or that they were walked through the building after they had been tortured or interrogated? Answer. I saw prisoners being walked for interrogation. Question. Can you describe a bit further? That is the building where the prisoners were walked through for interrogation purpose. What kind of building was it, and from where those prisoners were being walked? Answer. I cannot recall the building. I cannot recall to which direction the building faced. Question. And can you recall who actually walked those prisoners and who walked them back? And when those prisoners were walked back, what condition were they in? Answer. Can I recall who actually walked them? As for the prisoners, they could have walked by themselves. Question. When you said you saw prisoners being walked, how far were you from them, and what were you doing at the time that you happened to see prisoners being walked? Answer. I simply happened to see prisoners being walked when I was walking to where we grew vegetables. Question. Were you by yourself when you saw what happened, or were there other people with you at the time? Answer. Other people who were working with me also saw what happened. Question. And can you recall the names of those who were working with you and who were there with you at the time? Answer. Srim, was there? How far were you and Srum from where the prisoners were being walked? Answer. I cannot recall the distance. I could say that we were about 50 to 60 meters away. Question. Thank you. Now I return to your guarding duty. Can you tell the chamber the time of your guarding duty, that is from what time to what time, and what were the instructions from Hoi to you regarding this guarding duty? Answer. Sometimes we started in late afternoon and the shift was 2 hours. We were instructed to be vigilant in case prisoners tried to escape. Question. And were you armed when you were on guarding duty? Answer. Yes, we were given a weapon. Question. Did you have in your position that gun or any of your group members? Answer. For example, when it was my guarding duty, that gun would be given to me and I would return at the end of my shift. Question. I move on to another topic. During your guarding duty at 21, did you see any vehicle transporting prisoners to S21? Answer. At the location where I stood guard, I saw vehicles transporting prisoners in. Answer. Question rather. Were prisoners transported directly in through the compound, or did cadres from the compound go out to receive those prisoners? Answer. Prisoners were brought in and there were people from inside come to receive them. Question. Did they come to receive them at the gate or where? Answer. Actually, they were brought inside the compound near the building. Question. Did you ever see prisoners who were brought in by vehicle into the compound? If so, what was the condition of those prisoners? Answer. No, I did not see the condition those prisoners were in or from where they were brought. I only saw them being transported into the compound. Question. Can you recall the type of vehicle that was used to transport those prisoners, and how frequent was the trip? Answer. There were Chinese-made military truck, and only occasionally the truck arrived. It was not that frequent. Question. And did you know the number of prisoners in each truck? And you said that the truck did not arrive frequently. If there is the case, what was the frequency per month? Answer. I did not know the number of prisoners per each truck. Also, I cannot recall the frequency of the arrival of the trucks per month, although it was not that frequent. Maybe 1 or 2 trips per month. Question. What about prisoners who were transported out? Did you ever see that? Answer. For prisoners who were transported out of I-21, yes, I saw that. Because later on Hui assigned me to work at June 8. Question. Here I refer to the time that you were not yet transferred to work at June 8, and that would be asked later. While you work at S21, did you ever see prisoners being transported out? Answer. Yes, I saw that. I saw prisoners being transported out. Question. And where were they transported out to? Answer. They were transported out of the compound, though I did not know where they were transported to. Question. Thank you. And in the interest of time, I move on to another topic, that is in relation to the arrest of I-21 cadres. Were you aware of that? Answer. No, I was not. I was not aware of the arrest of anyone inside I-21. Question. In your written record of interview, that is E3/7663, Ian in Khmer is at 00163777, and English is at 00401838. (1837) rather, and in French 00401843. You were asked whether I-21 cadres or staff were arrested, and you said that you were aware of the arrest of people working there, but you cannot recall their names, and none of your group members was arrested. Do you recall that statement that you made? Answer. Yes, I recall that. However, I cannot recall the names of those in leadership who were arrested. Question. That is all right, witness, since this happened many years ago. And Did you have any of your relatives who were arrested and brought in and detained at S21? Answer. I had 3 relatives, that is 3 cousins and 1 uncle, who were arrested. Time from Division 12, Uk Sarun, Uk Sawan from Hospital P98, and another uncle who was being treated in that hospital. They were all arrested. Question. I will conclude my session soon. This is my last question. How did you know that your relatives were arrested and detained at S21? Answer. I did not see the arrest of my relatives or cousins. However, I was told about their arrest, and this matter was also arrest, that is, their names were mentioned during a political meeting.
តើលោកអាចប្រាប់បាន
Question. Who addressed the political meetings at the time, and what subject did he discuss? Answer. It was the chief of S21, that is Duke, and I cannot recall the subject of his discussion. Names were mentioned, I mean names of those who were arrested, as I told you a little while ago. Co-prosecutor, Mr. President, because of time, I am now seeking the floor for the international deputy co-prosecutor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. My name is Travis Farr, and I'm the International Counsel for the prosecution. You've mentioned your experience at Chiang Ai a couple of times, and one of the things you said was that you were given a position when you were assigned to guard at Chiang Ai. Can you tell us what position that was?
Answer. In relation to my duties and tasks, at first, I did not know for sure what I was required to do. A little bit later on, we told me that I was assigned to Chiang Ai to guard the prisoners who were transported inside that location, and my duty was to stand guard that location.
How many people were stationed with you at Chiang Ai?
Perhaps there were 6, 7, or 8 of us.
And who was the leader of that group of 6, 7, or 8 people?
The group chief at the location was me. I was in charge of that group.
And you've mentioned guarding the prisoners transported to Chiang Ai as one of your tasks. Did you have any other tasks there at Chiang Ai?
Answer. I was I was asked to dig pits and also to stand guard.
And who was it who asked you to dig those pits?
It was Hum Hui.
And other than asking you to dig the pits at Chung Aik, did Him Hui have any other roles at Chung Aik? Did he ever go to Chung Aik? And if so, what did he do?
He went there to visit the location, and he was also with the prisoners who were being transported inside the location.
Okay, I want to ask you now about how you felt about your transfer to Chung Aik and how you felt about the things you were asked to do there. And my specific question is, well, generally, how did you feel? But more specifically, did you feel like you had any choice as to whether to do what you were asked to do there?
The assignment was made. I was assigned to go there, and I, in the first place, did not know their plan. And later on, I was so concerned after I learned about their plan. With the human hearts, I had never done any such acts, but because of the duties that I had to perform, I had to do it anyway.
You said that you had never done such acts before you arrived at Chung Aik. Can you tell us what acts you're referring to?
Answer. At Chung Aik, people were executed very easily. That is why I was so concerned, but I could not avoid the duties, tasks that I had to perform.
I want to ask you about something that you said in one of your interviews with the investigators from the ECCC. And this is E3/7617. English is 00401879. Khmer is 00164403 to 04. And French is page 00401885 to 86. And you were asked what your feelings were while you lived at Chung Aik. And this is what you said. You said, quote, "While I was there, I had the feeling that I was seriously worried for myself. I did not understand what would happen to me in the future. At that time, it was impossible not to obey them. It could be compared to living with tigers." Unquote. Can you tell us a bit more about what you meant when you said this, that it was impossible not to obey and that it was like living with tigers?
I clearly understood at the time about the situation. I had background which had something to do with my family members. And at the time, I was not sure whether it was my time to happen or it was the time for others. I was so worried for myself. And I was thinking to myself that there was time when the time would come when incident would happen on me, and there was time that incident would happen on other as well. President interrupts. It is now time for the break. The court will take a short break from now until 3 p.m. Court officer and the support staff, please draw the curtain closer before the witness leaves the courtroom. And please, court officer invites the witness together with the duty counsel back to the witness stand before the curtain draw open, and also before the judges on the bench appear in the courtroom. The court is now in recess.